on screen
Hello, everyone. This is Tikva from Homeopathy for Humanity, and we have resumed our Materia, Medica, Pura daily, weekly, not daily, weekly sessions that happen on Sunday evenings. So welcome, and we are near the end of Aurum-Met with the proving data. So welcome. And of course, this will be put on our YouTube channel as well as the link on Facebook.
Shall we start screen share?
Yes, please. Unless you want to introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. I am Dr. Sanjay Solunke from Ambazogai, Central Maharashtra, and welcome again to our series of Materia Medica Pura. We are here after a long time.
Like a full month.
About a month, like a whole month, yeah. And we will see, we will not have such a long gap again. Welcome again, and we will continue with Materia Medica Pura Aurum-Met. And I think we are on symptom number 300. Can you read it? Readable?
Yeah, but I want to go up to symptom number 285. Because that's a cured symptom, and I think that that's an interesting. See, symptom number 285, comfortable feeling in the whole body. That's a cured symptom. How it has the asterisk after it, that goes to the bottom of the page saying that's the curative action. Okay, guys? So 285 is curative, a cured symptom. And then 286, all his sensations were fine and acute. That means that he noticed everything very carefully and acutely. And then even in the worst weather, he feels well and comfortable in the open air. Then we have the questionable symptom that is in parentheses, formication on the body here and there. Remember what formication means?
A web-like sensation?
Yeah,
crawling
like
ants, crawling or web-like sensation.
Yeah,
something like.
If you look at the remedy, there's a remedy called Formica rufa, right? And that comes from the same root word from formication, which is the crawling sensation. Because Formica rufa is made from ants. And what do ants do? They crawl all over things. In fact, fun fact, yesterday I went outside and I was rearranging the outdoor furniture and I noticed the tarantula on our fish pond. And so I alerted people inside to come and remove the tarantula from the fish pond, but it was ants carrying the tarantula up the wall of the fish pond, of all things. So yes, we live where there are tarantulas and ants that carry tarantulas to their nests. Okay. And then we have itching, burning, radiations, darting here and there, almost like stitches. That's a fun one. So there's itching, burning, and the itching and burning radiates and darts. When something radiates, when pain radiates, it goes from one place to another. Let's say somebody has a pain in their hand and it radiates, let's say from the wrist down the fingers. That means it radiates, it moves from place to place. And the word darting means quickly moving. But here it says almost like stitches. And what are stitches?
Pricking.
Yeah, when we sew things together, so he's saying here, itching, burning, radiating, darting. So shooting, moving, itching, burning, here and there, almost like stitches, not exactly. So it's very descriptive language here. 290. In the afternoon, when sitting and reading, he was overcome by great exhaustion, during which he fell asleep, but it was quite dawn when he woke. Okay, so in the afternoon, the prover was sitting and reading, and he was very tired. So he fell asleep while he was sitting up, but then he felt fine when he woke up. 291, remarkable ebullition in the blood after 24 hours, as if it boiled in the blood vessels. Woohoo! What's remarkable ebullition? What is the word?
Bubbles in the blood.
Yep, like a bubbling sensation. Yes, exactly. So there was like a bubbling sensation in the circulatory system. And it feels like, you know how water looks when it's boiling in a pot? That's the sensation he had in his circulatory system during the proving. And it comes after 24 hours. That's significant. So if anybody ever comes and says that it feels like their things are moving around and bubbling in their blood vessels, you remember it's an Aurum metallicum. Okay, next one. A weakness of the head combined with sopor while sitting in the daytime. What's sopor? Has anybody heard the word soporific?
Super.
Yeah, it's stupor or abnormal sleep.
Yes. A soporific is something that causes sleep. For example, a sleeping pill, an allopathic sleeping pill, is called a soporific. So he had weakness in the head combined with a sleepy feeling while sitting in the daytime. Irresistible sleep after dinner, and during this nap, he thinks a great deal. So we have a light sleep going on here. That after he ate, he took a nap, and he was thinking while he was sleeping. Frequent waking out of sleep as from fright. So we have a type of sleep that isn't very deep. And then we have moans aloud in his sleep. Anybody know what moaning is? Anybody make the sound of moaning, please? What's moaning in Hindi? Well, I guess that I'll have to moan for you guys. Whoa! So people who make those types of noises while they're sleeping are moaning in their sleep. It can be high pitched, it could be low pitched, but it's a noise that's not understandable. Is a possibility. And symptom 296, agreeable and very rational, but little remembered dreams. So his dreams are okay. And they were rational, means they made sense. So he liked the dreams, they made sense, but they were not well remembered. And that's after 8 hours. And 297, though, has frightful dreams. And when might people moan aloud in their sleep? Sanjay?
Yeah,
I asked a question and I'm waiting.
you're asking about mourning.
Yes, when might people moan in their sleep?
It might be due to pain or due to sadness. Anything can be a cause. But
Or
exhaustion.
or we have proving number 297, 298, 299, etc., etc., etc.
Frightful,
Dreams.
fear.
Yeah, bad dreams. It's not uncommon for people when they're having bad dreams to make moaning noises. Not uncommon. But do remember that in Aurum-Metallicum, you can have bad dreams with moaning. So there's frightful dreams. And then he has frightful dreams of thieves. What are thieves?
Robbers,
Yeah, people who steal things. So he has frightful dreams of people who steal things, and he cries out aloud in sleep. Then there's dreams of dead people. Dreams of dead people can either be pleasant or scary. It depends on what the dream's about. 300, he wakes in vivid dreams. So he's waking up while having a vivid dream. Then we have dream as if he should fall from a great height. Dreams full of quarreling. What's quarreling?
quarrel,
Mm-hmm.
fighting,
Mm-hmm. And the next one, Sanjay?
what next?
Read it.
Every night dreams an erection of penis.
Okay, so what's happening there?
He must have dreams of what you call, what are the words?
But you can use words from any language you understand.
dreams of like lucids. And in the evening,
Lascivious
immediately,
dreams.
lascivious, right?
So he may or may not be having dreams about sexual activities. And speaking of sexual activities, I'm going to digress just for a moment. I noticed a number of people in India have been making posts on social media about monkeypox.
Yeah.
Yep, and the World Health Organization and all the other countries are explaining to everybody that monkeypox, this version of monkeypox is essentially a sexually transmitted disease transmitted by homosexual men to other homosexual men. And this is very, very important for people to understand what this monkeypox pandemic actually is. It's a sexually transmitted disease that people get often without even knowing who their partner is. So governments are recommending that people exchange names and phone numbers with their sexual partners, just in case they get monkeypox. Now, I have not noticed anybody saying anything about this in Indian social media. So I want to make sure that people understand that it is basically,
We just had a news. Only 3 people in India has been recognized so far who are travelers who came from other country,
that's how it spreads.
and only 3 people so far. And worldwide data they have been telling only 17 people.
Well, according to the worldwide data that I have received, it's a couple of thousand people have had monkeypox, but it is specifically a niche disease where there are men that are getting together and having sex with other men that they don't necessarily know. So this is not, they're calling it a pandemic, but I would not put that out there in pandemic status because, how many people in our practices are doing that? It's not exactly common. But do remember this, and I've noticed that Indian social media has omitted those facts, and they've basically just talked about the monkeypox that is endemic in Africa, as opposed to this new situation of monkeypox as sexually transmitted disease. So anyway, every night, dreams and erection of the penis. In the evening, immediately after going to sleep, almost half awake, she dreamt much, as if someone were speaking to her. All night long, she dreamt she was in the dark. Here's a child. The child slept till 3 a.m. when it became wide awake and spoke in bold tones deliriously, with rapid utterance and red face. Mother, thou art my gold daughter. What dog is that? What head is that on the wall? What is that running about the room? And her raving consisted always of question. So we have a 3 a.m. modality, waking. And then deliriously and rapidly, with a red face, Mother, thou art my gold daughter. What dog is that? What head is on the wall? What is that running about the room? And her raving, that's called raving, consisted always of questions, not statements. And then we have in bold, frightful dreams at night. And then at night, unremembered dreams. At night, vivid and yet unremembered dreams. 310, Sanjay? Continue with 310.
All night long, wide awake and sleepless, although without pain, and yet neither sleepy nor tired in the morning, as is usually the case after sleepless night. Then in the morning from 4 o'clock onwards, he cannot sleep properly any longer. He tosses about restlessly from one side to other because he cannot lie long in one position. Hand on which he lies becomes soon tired. He often wakes up. Means he is restless. He tosses in the sleep, and even when he lies taking hand on the head, soon became tired, and due to which he wakes up again.
What does it mean
Yeah.
that the hand is tired?
Tired means feel like a gone sensation.
Yeah, in English, we call it, the hand or the leg or the what, the part lied upon falls asleep. It means that it becomes numb.
Numb.
Mhm.
Numb. Yeah.
So we have another modality at 4 o'clock. He can't sleep anymore. He tosses about restlessly from one side to another because he cannot lie long in one position. The hand on which he lies becomes soon tired. He often wakes up. So that's interesting. So when we're thinking about restless sleep and tossing from place to place in the bed, what remedies come to mind?
Aurum-Met.
That's what comes to mind first thing for you? Not, let's say, roost talks, perhaps?
Rush talks. Yeah. Restlessness.
Or maybe zinkum, but it's also in Aurum. So we can't have fixed ideas in our case taking. We need to look at the particulars and we need to see which remedy always matches most accurately what the vital force is displaying for us to read. Continue, please.
Then in the morning, on waking very weak. Maybe that is there due to restless nights, sleepless nights, and tiredness. In the morning, in the bed, immediately on waking, bluish headache and bluish pain all in the all joint. Worse when quite at rest. Immediately after getting up, this pain disappears. In the morning, very tired, her legs are painful so that she could like to lie down again. Uh, 3:15, chilliness in the evening in the bed. legs up to the knees are icy cold. He cannot get warm all night, sleeps in what is that word?
Scarcely.
Scarcely 2 hours, means scarcely, rarely. He sleeps all scarcely 2 hours, only for half an hour at a time, during which he has anxious and unremembered dreams. After 16 days,
There's a lot of restless nights and bad dreams in this remedy. Now we come to the fever section.
alternates with heat and chills, shivering through the whole body with goose skin. What is goose skin? Goose skin?
You know those bumps that happen where the hairs stand up individually when people get cold? Or when they talk about certain things that makes them feel funny? That's called goose skin.
Goose skin on the thighs, and with shocks of the brain under the frontal bone after 10 hours. In the evening, before lying down, headache, and after lying down, shivering and chilliness. Rigors in the back. Rigors, chills, sometimes chilliness, and what is betwixt the scapulae.
Betwixt means between the scapula. So in the middle,
Between
between,
middle of the back.
but between the scapula, the upper part.
When he got in the bed in the evening, his soles and patella becomes cold. Why this is in the bracket? This symptom in the bracket. In the evening in the evening in bed, before going to sleep, febrile rigors over whole body, as if he has taken chills in the draught of air after 19 hours.
What's febrile?
Fever.
Yeah. So he's shaking from fever on the whole body, as if he'd gone out and gotten cold in the air. Now you have to remember these provings were done in a place where the air is truly cold. So in like Germany, it's freezing throughout a good portion of the winter. So when people go out and get chilled, it's not just, let's say, 18 degrees or 17 degrees. It's 0, it's -5, it's -10. It's very cold. So when they talk about chill and getting chilled by a draft of air, that can be something that's significant.
But such cold we don't have here.
Right. You don't
So how can we take such symptom? But even if we can understand the temperature to which we are accustomed with, like somebody is feeling chill or having rigors, even in this temperature, in which the people are not supposed to have a cold.
Right. It's really kind of irrelevant. I'm just giving perspective here in the proving data. But people who are, let's say, even in South India, they might not have taken a chill from a draft of air per se, but they can have that febrile rigor over the whole body in the evening going to sleep. For sure, 100%.
Yeah. In the evening, febrile rigors all over, during which the hands were cold but the face and forehead warm, without thirst.
That's an important modality here. Hands were cold, but the face and forehead warm without thirst. Those are important modalities. There's actually 2 modalities there, well, 3, because it's in the evening. We have 3 modalities there. So it's a
At
good,
night,
you have an
yeah,
opportunity. It's a good idea when you have an opportunity to examine somebody who is sick with a fever, to do things like touch various parts of their body. Or if you're doing an online consult because somebody is homesick, to ask somebody who is in the room, you know, touch the hands, touch the feet. What do you feel? Touch the face. You know, different things. Look in the mouth. Look at the tongue. It's a good way to examine people, and therefore we get various modalities that are very important to us as homeopaths. And remember, this one has the modality without thirst. So even if we ourselves don't have this sick person come into our clinic, we should, while we're doing our telemedicine, we should ask whoever is making the call to us if they can try to ascertain these modalities and symptoms and just kind of examine the patient for us. At least that's what I do, because it's very helpful.
okay. At night in bed, before going to sleep, febrile rigors through whole body. He could hardly get warmth in the bed after 16 hours. Means this symptom, febrile rigor, is very strong.
There's a,
Somebody who might touch may not feel even warm, but he himself can have that sensation very strong.
yeah, I think we've probably all been there, done that, where we've been shaking with a fever underneath our blankets, trying to get warm. Is there anybody who has not experienced this in their lifetime?
Everybody has experienced this symptom.
We might think.
Yeah.
Yep, it's fairly common. See, there's no particular modalities other than in the night in bed before going to sleep.
Mhm.
So it's pretty common. Have a fever, shaking, peeped underneath the blankets, right? We've all been there, done that. Fairly common.
When he lies down in the bed in the evening, he is quiet, yet sleep is not to be thought of. He thinks it is owing to the position and he changes it ever and anon. What is anon?
I'll explain it after you read the whole paragraph.
Uh-huh. But
Continue.
cannot sleep before 3 a.m. Can you read it?
Yeah, continue and then I'll explain it.
In the morning, waking up at 6 a.m., he is as refreshed as if he had slept sufficiently for 3 successive nights.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one. Okay, so he lays down in bed and he's quiet. That means that he feels relaxed. Yet sleep is not to be thought of. That means he's still not going to be able to sleep. He's not even thinking he's going to be able to sleep. He thinks maybe it's because of his position. Remember, we had the restlessness before. And he changes his position ever and anon. That means that he keeps changing his position over and over and over again. He lies down in his bed. He feels quiet and relaxed, but he can't sleep. He thinks it might be his position that he's laying in. So he's restlessly all over the place and cannot fall asleep before 3 a.m. Then he wakes up 3 hours later at 6 a.m. and he is refreshed as if he had slept enough for 3 nights in a row. He has this symptom. So he's only getting 3 hours of sleep, but he feels refreshed, and this happens 3 nights in a row. So that's an interesting one. But see, you have that restlessness again. He thinks it might be because of the position. So he just changes it and changes it. He's all over his bed. In the evening, Fieber over the whole body with stuffed Kryza, not followed by heat and without thirst. Okay, we have a very important fever stage situation here. So we have in this prover, after 14 hours, fever with shaking over the whole body with a stuffed up nose. The nose is blocked. But after all this shaking, there is no sensation of heat. Okay, because we have often, we have fever stages. We'll have the shaking, chilly stage, chill, usually is followed by heat, and then by what?
Sweat.
Yeah, perspiration. So usually there's chill, heat, perspiration when the fever breaks. But clearly not always, and these are extremely important modalities when we are treating somebody who has fever. And this person is thirstless yet again. So we have thirstless fever. And there's no heat, there's only chill. So if the patient says to us, I can't get warm, no matter what I do, I can't get warm. Those would be the words that they might be saying. Heat of face with cold hands and feet. Slight transpiration at night like a vapor, and only between the thighs, moisture like perspiration. Transpiration is a different word that I've never, it's not a word people use. We can reduce this word to what it means. Trans means changing, and puration would be, like dampness. So there's like a slight dampness at night, like a vapor. A vapor is like, when it's raining outside and there's like clouds that are in the air, those are vapors. Or if you have a kettle or a pot and it's boiling and there's steam that comes out, that's vapor. And only between the thighs, moisture like perspiration. So there's just a slight dampness at night, like a vapor. And only between the thighs is there perspiration. In the morning, the next piece of proving data, morning sweat all over. Then what do we come to here? We come to the mental state. So we go from fever to mind. So here we have our mind improving. 3:30. All day long, good humor. He was talkative and contented with himself. And then we have an asterisk. What does that mean, guys?
Alternating action.
Or it could be a cure. Oftentimes when there's an asterisk, it means that there's a cured symptom. So all day he was happy. Good humor means he's happy, talkative, and contented with himself. Therefore, he felt good about himself and he felt happy and he was talking to people. What would the opposites of that be? What's the opposite of good humor?
Sad?
Yeah, he could be sad, he could be grumpy, he could be irritable. There's a lot of different options there. And he was talkative. What about when people are not talkative? What are they? This is often in rubrics. Very common rubric when people are not talkative. Taciturn.
Taciturn.
Right.
Silent.
Yep. And not contented with oneself. So anyway, this is more like they're saying it's an alternating action, I guess, because it went back and forth in the proving data. But one should feel contented with oneself. One should be reasonably talkative when amongst others. When people don't talk when they're around others, that's something that's symptomatic. That's an unusual situation. When people are around other people and they're doing things, for them, somebody to be cheerful and talking to people is normal behavior. And to feel good about yourself is normal. But when people are grumpy, aren't talking to the people around them, and don't feel good about themselves, you have a disease state. So this here, I would say, would be curative. Cheerful humor. He was always disposed to converse with others and was quite contented with his position. Tolerable gaiety and agreeable comfort. Woohoo! These people are happy after they had their doses of Aurum, right? He has cheerful humor. That means that his mood was good and he felt like talking to others and he was content with his position in life. That's a sign of health. Tolerable gaiety. That means also he felt quite happy and agreeable comfort. Agreeable means that he's comfortable and happy and friendly, which are all positive states. Of course, regarding the circumstances, if somebody's attending a funeral or something, they should not have tolerable gaiety and agreeable comfort. They should feel somewhat subdued. Anyway, I digress. In the evening, sometimes weeping, sometimes laughing, as if she was not quite conscious. So we have sometimes crying,
Polarity.
and weeping. That's just kind of going back and forth. Her mood's going back and forth.
Yeah, mood swing.
But it says as if she's not quite conscious. What is consciousness?
Does it mean like something delirious type?
A little bit, yeah. Not quite conscious.
Aware.
And then we have trembling agitation of the as if under the influence of some joyous hope. Ah, that's interesting. So we feel some excitement. Trembling agitation of the nerves as if under the influence of some joyous hope. That means that there's a feeling of expectation that something good is going to happen. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
335, quiet moroseness, then cheerfulness. The two emotions afterwards alternated with each other. So he's going back and forth from being morose. What does the word morose mean?
Annoyed.
Gloomy?
Gloomy, annoyed,
Gloomy.
unhappy, uncommunicative, sad. It means a lot of those kinds of unhappy emotions. And that is, they say that is quiet moroseness, which means that he's just being very silent, silently unhappy after 1 hour, which turns to cheerfulness
After 3 hours.
hours. And these two emotions alternating with each other. So he's going back and forth from being quiet and unhappy to cheerful, alternating back and forth. Then we have moroseness. He is indisposed to talk. What does that mean?
He is gloomy and don't want to talk. Sad.
Whenever people are unduly quiet in their circumstances, it is unusual. So we have, what is gloomy in Hindi? What word would you use for that?
Mhm.
Hmm?
I don't know exact word.
Try something.
Anybody? Sad. Udas.
Then we have very much given to feel offended. The slightest thing which he thought offensive affected him deeply and caused him to resent it. Easily offended. The slightest thing affects him deeply and causes him to resent people. So he's holding grudges. Easily offended by the smallest thing, and then he resents it, which means basically holding a grudge or having prolonged anger towards the person who, quote unquote, offended him, which might have not been an offense at all. It might have just been something, rather benign, just a basic statement of some type. And then we have irascibility. He is very excitable, and the slightest contradiction excites the utmost anger. That means
What is irascibility?
Hot temper.
Yep, hot-tempered, excitable, and the slightest contradiction makes him very angry.
Mm-hmm.
What does the word choleric mean?
Cleric.
Usually we find these words under diatheses. It means that he's rude.
Temperament. Chloritic is a temperament.
It's a temperament.
Yeah. Like when the greenish means, na? Paleness.
Is anybody Googling this?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Pale.
Google? Hmm?
Pale.
Pale? That's chlorosis.
Hmm.
Chlorosis is a kind of anemia. Choleric. It told me
Bad temper.
easily
Irritable.
to often unreasonable or excessive anger. Perpetually hot-tempered. Okay, so it's somebody who's unreasonable and excessively angry. Angry, irate, things like that. And then there's choleric temperament.
According to Wellcome Collection, choleric personalities are hot, dry, fiery, greedy. They profess their ambitions, brave and proud, but they can also be vindictive, deceitful, and violent. Without exception,
Chidchida.
So it's the drama queens, according to Shakespeare. So it's somebody who has a grumpy temperament. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So he sits apart, 340. He sits apart all by himself in a corner, wrapped up in himself, as if in the deepest melancholy, when left undisturbed. But the slightest contradiction excites the greatest heat and anger when he quite forgets himself, at first with quarreling and much talking, afterwards with a few disconnected words after 5 days. Okay, this is very interesting. So we have a patient who is sitting by himself in a corner, not interacting with others, as if he's in the deepest melancholy. Melancholy means sadness or depression, and when he's left undisturbed. But when somebody says something to him that he doesn't like, he gets hot, angry, and starts fighting with much talking. And then that kind of trails off to a few disconnected words. Can we picture that in our minds?
Yes, ma'am. Like a loner.
Mm-hmm. But then when somebody upsets him, he just flies off and he's so upset, right? Then we have constant sulky seriousness and reservedness. So this is happening like constantly now, where somebody is sulky, Sulky means moody, not talking to others, serious, and reserved. Again, that lack of communication. There's a lot of lack of communication that is not angry in the mental state here.
What is reserved?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Anyone?
So introvert.
No, not exactly. Introvert is different.
An introvert is somebody that gets energy from themselves as opposed to energy from others. Reserved is
Reserved.
to hold back. And Sanjay has this whole thing where he can explain reserved in a lot of different ways. I think it has something to do with gasoline in a car.
Yeah, that is a very good example. Now we don't have that facilities nowadays in India, but when I was in college, we had a motorcycle and that has a cock that we have to switch to reserved. Have anyone driven that scooter or bike?
Yes, I used, but nowadays is not the reserved anything in the bike.
Yeah, it
Sure. When there
suddenly,
is a when the
what
suddenly the
happened?
petrol is finished, then we can use the reserve petrol.
Yeah, what does mean exactly? Means when you have a tank full of gas and you have lot of work to do, you don't think about how much gas is there or something like that. You go here, there, you uh, do things, and we don't bother about the gas. And once it gives signal, now you have reserve stock. What you will do?
Go get
You
gas.
will not go unnecessary to anything. You will do only that things are important
Or
first.
you're going to go get gas.
Yeah, or you can go and get it filled,
Right.
because means to hold back, means you don't waste anything. You don't want to waste anything. You want to take maximum upon whatever you have, right? That is a reserved. You will speak only that thing that you feel are important. Did you get it? Hello, is anybody listening?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you got this, what I have said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
So we have a lot of lack of communication in this remedy, unless it is anger or fighting.
Yeah, we had lot of mood swing and lot of polarity type. He is happy on one hand, he is sad and gloomy on the other hand, he is irritable, and he is taciturn also. Constant sulky, seriousness and reservedness. If he feels that it's important for him, then he will talk. Otherwise, he won't. He don't want to be get disturbed.
Or he doesn't want to share. People who don't
Yeah.
Share their feelings or what they think about things. It's also about sharing. You know, if you're
Mhm.
gonna go and sit with your friends and you're not going to talk, you know, that's being reserved. And especially if it's accompanied with seriousness and sulky. Sulky means kind of like sad, kind of unhappy, kind of unhappy about the situation, sulking, just like, right? So you have somebody who's reserved and serious. That means they're not sharing in a normal way. They're not sharing what they think or what they feel with people around them. So this is somebody who, if they get together with their friends for whatever reason, they're not going to really talk about anything. They're going to see their relatives or their family or get together with their sister or their brother or their child, but they're not going to talk about anything important. They're going to pretty much be quiet and they're not going to share. When we are reserved, we're not sharing. Understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Peevish dejection. He thinks nothing will succeed with him. That means that he's kind of irritable and he feels unliked, unwanted, like his world's not going right, and that nothing will go right with him, that nothing will succeed. Succeed means to be successful. So he's feeling bad about himself and he thinks that he won't be successful with things. And then the next one, he thinks that everything happens awkwardly or that he does everything awkwardly. Feeling awkward is a sense of self where it's a heightened sense of self. You know, people who feel that people might criticize them or that they might not be doing things in exactly the right way. So it has to do with like body language and motion. And he thinks that everything's just not going quite right. Then we have discontent with all his circumstances. He imagines that he finds everywhere some obstacle in the way. At one time, he thinks that this is owing to an unlucky fate. At another, that he himself is to blame for it. When the latter was the case, he was particularly mortified and dejected. So he's
He
discontent.
is not happy for himself.
Mhm. That's why earlier on we had the cured symptom of feeling happy with himself.
Mhm.
Circumstances, discontent with his circumstances. He imagines that there's all kinds of obstacles, things that stand in his way. He thinks that it might be, you know, his karma, or he thinks that he might have done something wrong, maybe his dharma. And when it's the latter case, he is mortified. Mortified is a very important word used regularly throughout proving data and in rubrics. Mortified, mort means death. So he is horrified. He's just so upset. And dejected means, again, kind of like reserved, not speaking to others as he should, not talking, and feels separated. You know, you see the word ejected in dejected. So it means set apart. So he felt horrible, discontent. Things were going all wrong. Sometimes it was, you know, his karma. Sometimes it was his dharma. But either way, he feels mortified, he feels very upset, and very much apart from others. 345. Sanjay?
An urging to activity, bodily as well as mental. When he did anything, he thought he did not do it quickly enough, and that he had a great deal more to do. He could not live to this liking, to his liking. What is the symptom?
That's what you're here for.
Urging to activity, bodily as well as mental, physical or mental. When he did anything, he thought he did not do it quickly enough, and that he had a great deal to do it more. He could not live to his liking, means satisfaction. He tried to prove himself like that, something. Right?
Yep, he's trying to prove himself. And he's
Yeah.
has an urging of activity in the body as well as in the mind when he does things. But if he doesn't do it quick enough, he feels like he has so much to accomplish, so much to do, but he can't do it according to the way he thinks it should be done properly.
Remorse about his idleness, and yet he cannot work at anything. He drives him out of house. He must be always moving, always very restless and undecided. Thought he was neglecting something for which he must incur reproach without perceptible evolu- how to pronounce that word?
Tribulation.
Evolution of blood. He seems to carry out this restlessness with him in his inmost part. Inmost means innermost. What is inmost?
Innermost, is
Innermost.
inside his person. So this is
Yeah.
he's feeling he's restless. He's restless. He's unhappy, and he feels like he's feeling anxious, but he's not having perceptible heart palpitations or anything like that. And he's restless, undecided, thought he was neglecting something for which he must incur reproach without perceptible ebullition of blood. He seems to carry about this restlessness with him in his innermost part. So the deepest part of him is feeling restless, anxious. This is a kind of anxiety and with restlessness that he feels like people are going to be upset with him. And it made him very tired to have this sensation of restlessness, anxiety, but anxiety without the blood pounding in the veins, just regular, just like nervousness. So, and he feels like he's doing something wrong. He feels like people are going to tell him he's doing something wrong. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And it's a tiring feeling. He feels
Mhm.
anxious, nervous, and he thinks that people are going to be scolding him. And he's holding this deep inside himself. It's not just a superficial feeling. It's something that he's really deeply concerned about. And it makes him tired to feel this way.
A noise before a door made him anxious. Noise before the door made him anxious. He feared lest someone could come in, like anthropophobia. Is it something fear of people?
Yeah, fear of people. So there's, it feels like somebody's like coming to the door and he's scared that somebody's going to come in through the door and he just doesn't want to be with people. We have a very similar piece of proving data in Lacopodium, unless somebody ring the doorbell. A fear that somebody's
Mhm.
come to the door.
Palpitation of heart, extraordinary anxiety, weariness of all the limbs and drowsiness for an hour. 350, great anxiety that has its origin in precordial region. It draws him to a place that was previously favorite one and drive him away again, and so from one place to another, so that he can remain long in no place. Means he is constantly moving restlessly, right?
Yeah, and we also see that in what remedy? Restless.
Restlessness, restox, and even econite.
And arsenicum. Arsenicum goes from place.
Yeah. Great weakness and anxiety, so that he is thought to be near death. Great weakness and anxiety, he thought to be near death.
Now that is
It
a
is,
bracketed symptom.
yeah, journal.
Mhm.
Amidst howling and crying, he imagined herself to be irretrievably. Pronounce that one.
Irretrievably.
Irretrievably
What kind of dog do you have?
lost.
What kind of dog do you have?
What?
What kind of dog do you have?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Retriever.
And what is
Golden.
the word?
Retriever.
Yeah, and what is this word here in the proving data?
Irretrievably.
Right, what do retrievers do?
To retrieve.
Yeah, so
To
retrieve,
bring.
right, retrievers, people would go hunting in Europe, right? And other places, and they would have themselves a retriever dog. So they would shoot, let's say, birds in the air, and the dog will go and get it and bring it to its person. And that's what retrievers do. They return things to others. So the retriever dog is one that is easily trained or has an instinct to go and get things for its people. So here we have proving data amid, that means during howling and crying. She's not only crying, it's not just tears, it's severe. She's howling and she's crying. It's terrible. It's a big, 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 ugly cry. Not just a simple cry, not something delicate. She's having horrible crying, and she feels that she is irretrievably lost, that she cannot find herself again.
Mhm.
Understand that feeling. Will she ever get back to herself? Will she stay like this always? She's crying, she's howling, she is in deep emotional pain, and she feels like she will never be found. Her original self will never be found again. She'll never get back to her normal self. And that is a very, very deep psychological symptom. He imagines he has forfeited the affections of others, and this grieves him to tears. He thinks that he's made people very upset, and this makes him cry. When we forfeit the affection of others, forfeit means to give up the affection of others. So that would mean that there's some kind of, you have a lot of reservedness, taciturnity, inability to talk, inability to communicate properly, and lack of desire to communicate with people, friends, family, co-workers, and that he thinks that he has lost these relationships, and it grieves him to tears. He has to cry about it. Then we have sad and dejected. So these previous things are more than just sad. It's a matter of, where is my inner self gone to? Am I ever going to get back to my true self? So in 355, he is discontented with himself and depressed in spirits. What does that mean? He's unhappy with his activities, his actions. He's unhappy with who he is. And he feels quiet and subdued. Depressed in spirits doesn't necessarily mean, it's kind of melancholy, but it just also can be lighter than melancholy. That he's unhappy and he doesn't talk and he doesn't feel like doing things. He's just not happy. He feels unhappy with himself and he feels unhappy inside himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the next one?
Melancholy imagines he is unfitted for the world. He is filled with intense delight when he thinks of death, so that he longs to die. This is the symptom. Everyone could remind very well suicidal tendency. He is happy with thoughts of death. He longs to death, means longs he desire to die. And he imagines he is unfitted for the world.
He feels
And
alone.
next we see he is filled with intense delight when he thinks of death. He is happy with the thought of death.
And imagines being unfit for the world means that there's something broken inside him, that he doesn't feel that he belongs. He doesn't feel like he belongs. And then he feels happy, very happy, when he thinks about death. So he wants to die.
Mhm. Contrary of disposition. What is that word? Contrary of disposition.
So what does it mean to be contrary?
Contrary means opposite.
Yeah.
What is disposition?
You want to explain disposition?
What is disposition? Anyone?
Natural way of behaving.
Disposition.
Unusual way of behaving.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yep, so it's kind of contrary.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
there's frequent attacks of pericordial anxiety and trembling anxiety from a journal.
Oh, yeah. So what is there now? We have fumigating gold. Fulminating. What is this?
It's a preparation of gold. And so there was one proving done. This is from a different, this isn't from a proving, this is from journal entries.
Are we have to do this?
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Okay.
Bellyache, especially in children with anguish. So there's stomach pain in children where they are really upset about it. Then we have sinking of the strength, fainting, cold sweat on the limbs, violent vomiting with convulsions, and violent diarrhea. And that's with
Mhm.
the fulminating gold. And those are only journal or, how we pull up scientific articles, that kind of thing.
Mm. Okay.
And we have finished our Metallica.
So now people can come on video.
So we see a lot of anxiety and a lot of inability to communicate with others. And inability to communicate with others can be a really significant component of the mental state known as depression. Inability to communicate with others is often seen when people are suffering from depression, if we use clinical terms.
I see a lot of symptom from the recent situation I have faced. Lot of symptoms
What was our recent situation that we faced, Sanjay?
about Nilesh.
Oh, yes. Mhm. I didn't know if you meant worldwide, global situation or personal situation.
No, it's after reading so much this data, I can recollect what the symptom he was having.
And you better give that remedy then.
Because he was not like sad or something like that, unhappy about he might die. He was actually happy or means for facing that situation, and he was actually sad because he was saved.
Mhm. You might truly.
And he actually done because he wanted to he was not done because he was sad or something like that, but he want to punish the parents.
Mhm. Clearly.
He want to punish the parent because he was the only child, and he want to punish them. How they will feel if he dies, something like that. and he is clearly moving the moods from one point to extreme opposite, extreme very fast. We can see one moment he is like that, and another moment he is extreme other end. So anger, depression, and one more thing was observed. And if somebody means seems a more dominating, he will just be submissive. Like lycopodium. Okay. You guys also can share the situations if you have faced. This is wonderful remedy.
Did you give this remedy, Sanjay?
No, I haven't given this remedy, but I might think. I didn't get time to have read this. But as in this session, we go through the symptoms, I noticed that.
I'd say it might be a good move.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So any other experience, Dr. Sandhya? And we have,
Yes, sir.
you have any experience about aurum metallicum?
So still no. Was just I heard
And
about the Aurum-Met. Even the suicidal tendencies.
no, suicide, lot of remedy have suicidal tendency, but this aurum metallicum is very, very typical. Very typical. He is actually excited to do the things.
So what's the reason
He,
behind this? Anything? Any difference between the Aurum-Met
no,
and
it's
other
just
suicidal tendencies?
swings, mood swings. We have seen those symptoms. He is swinging very, very, very fast.
Okay.
He's sad on the. Actually, he doesn't know what he is being in the situation. He is happy at the one hand, he is sad on the other hand. He is detached, he is in reserved, he's taciturn, and he is
It means
talkative also.
it means he doesn't want he did not satisfy with his life.
No,
By the
actually,
conditions or what?
Aram, no, no, no. Yeah, it's like that. He is not happy with himself, what he has been doing.
There's a lot of self-criticism in Aurum.
Huh?
There's a lot of self-criticism in Aurum.
Huh?
But not
But
always.
he is not criticizing himself always.
No, sometimes there is self-criticism in Aurum, but there's a hell of a lot more in Aurum than the mental state. There are all kinds of joint pains, body pains. This is one of our top remedies for what's it called? Undescending testicles, for congenital, when there's the, I can't remember the word, when the scrotum gets filled with water.
Hydrocele?
Hydrocele, yeah. There's a lot of different things in here. We have arthritis, we have all different kinds of back pain. We have a lot of sexuality here. where we have a lot of dreams. The dream states and the sleeplessness are very interesting here. And there's a lot of, contraction of the pupils, a lot of various swellings. It's a very, very full, well-rounded remedy. It is useful in so many different ways. And we would only look at the mental state if the mental state had changed. So for example, let's just go through the book here a little bit, where we have this pressure, headache with dizziness. And we could put that together with swollen glands. And then we have, pain between the shoulder blades. And we could have a whole lot of nocturnal erections. And we could have chilliness and paralytic pains, pains where the body doesn't function properly, like that you can't move it. It's so painful that it doesn't move properly. That is also very important in Aurum Metallicum. And then there's moaning in the sleep, which is also, there's a lot of very, very interesting aspects to Aurum Metallicum. It's an antisporic, very important medicine, and it's not uncommon that people need it. And we can't just look at the mental state, because people who don't necessarily have this mental state might need this remedy, as in all remedies.
Means we want to focus on the also physical symptoms
We're to
as
focus
well.
on who's presenting, whatever the presentation is. Some people won't give a remedy unless it has a particular mental state, or, a lot of Materia Medicas have a very, very narrow viewpoint of a medicine. It's this, 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 and this, and people have like 4 indications they keep in their mind. But the deepness, fullness of a medicine needs to be explored. I mean, you can have pain in the armpit with pain between the scapulae, and that, along with something else, might indicate Aurum is the best remedy. Even if the person is of normal mood. Keep that in mind.
Okay. So we are done with the remedy. Next Sunday we will begin a new remedy, belladonna. Right, guys?
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful session. It is a wonderful session.
Yeah. Oh, it's not about this session. You have to connect all 3, 4, 5 parts of Aurum Metallicum. Again, all these parts. You
Yes.
have to watch a whole remedy.
Yes.
A quick read through of all the proving data gives us the genius of the remedy, what it's capable of curing. Thank you very much, everybody who has watched this video, and thank you to everybody who has joined us this evening.
We have this Sarvan Marella. She was here how to pronounce that word? Her name,
Morella, I think.
Marella,
I think.
Mirella. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much and join us next time. And remember, this will be put on the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you, sir.
Thank
be
you, sir.
there
Thank you.
on Thursday. Be there on Thursday
Yes,
for
sir.
Organon.
We're finally going to get to aphorism 16.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
You
Thank
can
you so
stop
much.
recording.